What's up, MMC fam? Welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys are all having a fabulous day. We're starting out with a fully prepped and painted cup, and I painted this with deep blush from Pop of Color Paints, and then I used Rustoluem metallic gold on the bottom. To apply my glitter, I used the glitter glue from Artistry Epoxy, and I kind of had to work fast with this because for some reason the glue likes to repel over top of metallic colors. I haven't noticed it with any other kind of paints. It just doesn't like the metallic colors. So this would have been better if I applied the glitter with a UV resin or just using the epoxy method, but I still got it on. I still got full coverage. So the glitters we're using today are Bank Heist from Dipped Sips. I have a coupon code with them you can find down in the description box below. We're also using Crue from Peachy Olive Glitters. Instead of Bank Heist, you could also use Athena from Peachy Olive Glitters. It's very similar to Bank Heist. They just have slightly different undertones in them, so either one will look absolutely gorgeous. I started out with Bank Heist first down at the bottom and tipped my cup just ever so slightly to get that ombre started. And then I went in with Crue starting from the top and doing the same thing, tipping my cup the opposite way to get that nice ombre. Once your glitter is applied and fully dry, you can go ahead and go in with your first layers of epoxy. I used two back-to-back layers of DIY Epoxy's Speedy Petey. I applied my first layer and used about 30 mils, and I let that dry for about 45 minutes and then went in right with my second layer. I really love Speedy Petey. It dries super quick. I am such a fan. I'm loving it so much. So after two back-to-back layers, go ahead and let that cure for about 8 to 12 hours, and then you can go ahead and do any sanding you need to do. If you do have to do some sanding, you want to make sure you either go ahead and epoxy for a third time, or alternatively you can just use Rustoluem clear gloss spray. Either one will work fine. You just don't want to trap those sanding marks and scuffs underneath of this vinyl we're going to be using for our background. Once I got the cup fully sanded and smooth, I went in with a super sharp craft knife and cut off any of that extra epoxy around the upper rim. The vinyl we're going to be using is from BAMF Custom Creations, and if you've worked with her vinyl before, you know that it's a little bit thicker, it's a little bit more tricky to work with, and you can't really move it around. So you definitely want to make sure your cup is fully smooth and ready to go so you don't run into any problems later on. For the vinyl, we're going to be using this semi-transparent vinyl from BAMF Custom Creations. I will have it linked down below. I absolutely love her vinyls. They are so cool. They're so different. I love the semi-transparents especially. They just give such a cool look. And I am so sorry. I just realized I completely forgot to press record when I was applying this to the tumbler. But you're just going to apply it like you would any other vinyl. We're going to be doing a full wrap. And you'll see later on that I do have a little bit of a gap where the two vinyls didn't line up completely, and that's totally okay because we're going to cover it up and fix it a little bit later. I got all the images we're going to be using today from Creative Fabrica. I will have links to these specific designs in the description box down below. And I'm using my same method that you guys see in just about every video. I printed these out on clear water slide and then went ahead and converted that image into a basic cut image and cut it out on white vinyl. That way we don't have to worry about doing Cricut's print then cut because it never wants to work. We can just cut it out on vinyl and use clear water slide, and it makes everything so much easier. If you guys haven't tried this, try it out. You're gonna be obsessed, and it's gonna be the only method you use, trust me. So this dreamer image I placed right over the gap where that semi-transparent vinyl didn't line up perfectly. You're still going to be able to see a little bit of the gap, but we're going to go in and cover it up later. So if you have a gap or any imperfections in that vinyl, don't worry about it too much because we're going to add some extra elements to cover up any of our mistakes. So you're going to want to go ahead and place your white vinyl down how you want it. And you can go right in with your clear water slide right over top of that vinyl. You don't have to epoxy in between or anything like that. You can go right over it and you're good to go. Once my water slides were applied and completely dry, I went in with a gold paint marker that I got off of Amazon. I will also have that link down below if you guys want the same one. However, I don't really recommend this one, especially if you're going to be using it over top of epoxy. It's got one of those really fine points, like a fine tip Sharpie, and it doesn't like to glide over the epoxy too much. So definitely go for like more of a marker tip rather than this really fine paint tip. However, it works just fine. It just takes a little bit of extra time to get it to work. And I was originally just gonna leave this with the paint marker, but I decided I didn't like it. So I went over top of that with some gold leaf, which I actually think the gold marker helped a little bit because it kind of gave me a little bit of an outline of where I wanted that gold leaf to go, so it didn't go everywhere. And it kind of gave that gold leaf a little bit of a background, so you couldn't really see the florals underneath. So it's kind of like painting a cup and then you put glitter over it. It just gives it a little bit of a background, so you have a really nice opaque gold leaf section, if that makes sense. So I just randomly colored in some of these petals, and I just did a few of the flowers just to give it a little bit of extra something. I felt like it needed a little bit more. And like I said, we are going to go in with gold flake, and I absolutely love how that turned out. I used the same glitter glue that I used in the beginning to apply the glitter, and I just took it on a little tiny paintbrush and I painted that right over the gold paint marker, and then applied my gold leaf to those sections. Once your glitter glue is completely dry, you're going to want to go in with a dry, rough brush and brush off any excess of that gold leaf. It's really going to help a lot when you go to epoxy, because if you don't brush off this excess, you're going to have to do some sanding, and I try to avoid sanding whenever possible, so definitely take the extra 5 seconds to brush off any of that extra gold leaf. Once you get all that excess brushed off, you can go straight into your final layers of epoxy. I did 2 back-to-back layers of DIY's Speedy Petey epoxy again. I did 30 mils for the first coat, and about 45 minutes later I went straight in with the second coat, and I also used 30 mils of epoxy for that. Go ahead and let that spin and cure for about 8 to 12 hours, and then you are ready for the final 72-hour cure. And here she is when she is completely finished. I absolutely love, love, love how this turned out. I've had this cup sitting for a couple of weeks now, and I knew I wanted to do a tutorial with it, and I just didn't really know how to execute it, and I am so happy with how it turned out. So I really hope you guys love this tutorial. If you did, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up, and while you're down there, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It is a free way that you can support the channel, and it really helps out so much. Let me know what you guys think of this tutorial down in the comments below. Let me know what you guys want to see next, and with all of that being said, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.